Hello, and welcome to the 2021 GRAD Cincinnati Banquet. We are so excited that you're here to celebrate 20 years of GRAD Cincinnati with us. I hope you enjoy looking back at how GRAD Cincinnati and its dedicated volunteers have made a difference over the years. Help us celebrate those who continue to light the way in the lives of our students today.
I had the good fortune to be the founder of what was then called Project GRAD, which is today just simply called the GRAD program. I was asked to be the keynote speaker for an organization called Project GRAD in Newark, New Jersey. So when I went there and I gave my talk and just saw all the wonderful things that we're doing, I said, boy, we got to bring this back to Cincinnati. Project GRAD at the time was a national program in about 5 or 6 cities. And what I saw in Newark really paralleled the need for Cincinnati. And the main thing is to group your high-risk schools, especially elementary schools and some high schools together, and to ensure that the same curriculum is taught at all 5 schools. And the reason for that is that in CPS school system, 50% of the kids who are there in September aren't there in June. So with these kids moving around, if they're part of the same textbook and the same teachings, they don't miss anything by moving from neighborhood to neighborhood. It also was a program where they really wrapped your arms around the children to meet the social needs, because all the problems the kids have in school aren't just academic, it's a lot of social needs. And I love the fact that we were able to provide $4,000 to the children who completed the program. And this was such a great incentive to look at kids and say, and to their parents, you can go to college. In the early days, we took hundreds of volunteers and we actually went door to door and signed a contract. And the contract stated that the parents would ensure that their child would come to school every day and they would help them with their homework. In return, they'd be part of the GRAD program and a chance to have $4,000 to start college. The work of GRAD is so important. I've been such a strong advocate for education, especially helping kids in the inner city schools, kids that are not on a level playing field. They don't get a chance to even be on a level playing field. And Project GRAD gives them a chance, one, for some self-esteem. It gives them a chance to see that they have a future. It gives those kids a chance to think about tomorrow. And so many kids in the inner city only think about today. And that's what drives sometimes bad behavior, because they don't think about tomorrow and the actions and how their actions may impact their chances for tomorrow. But Project GRAD unites a whole school. It brings kids together, brings the teachers together, and hopefully brings the parents together to unify for one thing: taking your child, giving your child an opportunity, first to finish high school. And then for those that want to get a college education, there's that opportunity that's there. Project GRAD has stood the test of time. For a program to last for 20 years in Cincinnati is just outstanding. And it's lasted this long because of the great leadership of Pat Adams, the great boards that she's been able to assemble, and the many, many people who have donated both their time and their money, which is so important to this organization. We're at a time, because of COVID, where our children are behind. They're behind even more now because they really missed almost 2 years of the classroom. It is so important that we continue with GRAD and to expand GRAD. So I plead with people who will see this video, who will hear about this program, please give from your wallet, but more importantly, give from your heart.
Over the years, GRAD Cincinnati has made a difference in the lives of students in Cincinnati public schools, helping them to realize their dreams of graduating from high school, pursuing a post-secondary degree, and moving into successful careers. We're so very proud of our students, our staff, and families, and we owe much of that success to you. Through your generosity and the donations and resources that you have provided to GRAD, we have been able to raise over $1.2 million to send our students off to college. And with your generous support, we will be able to continue that. So tonight, I would like to say welcome again to our 20th year celebration, and please continue to support GRAD Cincinnati. When I think about the students, one student comes to mind, and that's Robert Goldsby. Robert Goldsby was one of our first college scholarship recipients, and he went on to the University of Cincinnati. I remember Robert as a high school student at Western Hills University High School, and we used to call him the professor. But Robert needed a little bit more support when it came to deciding where he was going to go to college, or even if he was going to go. And we had people that surrounded him to make that happen. But an important piece of going to college is handing off that student to someone on that college campus. And that's where Robert Goldsby met Kenneth Simonson. And Kenneth became a mentor to Robert. So they have a very special story, and I'm going to let them tell you of their story.
I guess we'll start back at high school. So for me, start off a bit strange. I remember the truancy individual showing up at my door and telling me that we needed to go to high school, or essentially my mom would get in trouble. So thought that was interesting because I didn't know high school was mandatory. So for me, the introduction to high school was a bit of I didn't know I needed to do it. There was no one in my immediate family that had gone to high school, so they didn't know it was a mandatory thing either. College was a little bit similar to that for me, and that was once I got to my final year of high school, or getting close to that, we weren't sure what the next steps were. It was because of GRAD that I was able to get introduced to college and understand what it was and how you apply to it. And from that point, I transitioned into the University of Cincinnati. It was one of the most challenging years that I'd experienced. So that is where I met Mr. Simonson. And thanks to him, it was because of not just that first year, but every year that followed that I had the support I needed to get through college.
Yeah, I first met Robert at Western Hills High School. I think I was there for recruitment, and I think somebody recommended that I speak to him. And we started talking. He was interested in engineering, but Western Hills didn't have physics, and you could not be admitted to engineering without having physics. And so, matter of fact, he came over to the university and brought two teachers with him. And so we talked and everything, and I made sure that he was able to get physics. And then he was admitted, and he came to our summer bridge program, which was for 6 weeks. From that first quarter till he graduated, he was on the dean's list. But what really made it even more phenomenal was the fact that the work that he was doing in the community. At the same time, he was going to school full time. He created a mentoring program in the community. I think the biggest benefit of our interaction then was really getting him to understand not just the requirements, the physics requirement that was missing, but the whole mindset in terms of what he would have to bring to the summer program and why we were doing the summer program. And I think that first interaction helped lay the foundation, and he embraced it.
There's also the reaching out, getting additional scholarships and funding, the financial side of things. So in addition to the class, there was making sure that we were able to actually get through and apply for scholarship and funding so that we could get through college, essentially. You had so many things along the way to support, from a high school level, getting the courses and requirements that were needed. From a bridge level, transitioning into college, that bridge program would sort of set a preliminary foundation. And then the additional support transitioning into the first year of the co-op courses, as well as the funding and finances and working through that and how to apply in those areas. So there was a lot of support, in the very beginning to set the foundation, and then that support continued on all the way to graduation. I'm happy I was able to do that same thing and work through those those same steps with other individuals who have been in similar positions as I have.
And actually, GRAD Cincinnati, I think, helped position Robert and other students to make that transition, and also to get them to understand how it was important for them to plug into those same type of resources when they got to a college campus. And so you see some continuity in terms of assisting their development academically and professionally. And so I think him embracing the process first for GRAD Cincinnati, and then when he made the transition to the University of Cincinnati and our emerging ethics engineers program, I think that did a lot to set the foundation to make him the successful person that he is today.
It's said to me a few times, and I now understand if you don't know what you don't know. And that was the biggest challenge to overcome, is actually understanding that I did not know about college. So just knowing, hey, there's something after high school, just sort of similar to, hey, there's something after elementary school and middle school to understand high school. It was breaking that barrier of the unknown, actually understanding that there was something beyond that and how to get into the application process and introduction to how that actually works. So if I was not introduced to that, I would not know that it existed. And because of the introductions that I had with Gen 1, E3, and Project GRAD, essentially Mr. Simonson, I was able to understand what I did not know. So I have to give them all the credit for that, because I did not know what I did not know, and because of them, now I did.
Another special story that comes to mind is the story of Brian Talbert and Jamari Fields. Jamari is a graduate from Euler High School, and he and Brian built a very special relationship over the years at Euler. Brian took Jamari by the hand, and he walked him through the process of completing all of his college applications, making sure he was safe, making sure that he had things that he needed that he didn't have. And because of that special relationship, Jamari is off to college at the University of Cincinnati College of Engineering. And I would like for Brian and Jamari to share their story.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny with Jamari. I don't want to say I've known him since he was 5 years old, like that, followed him all the way through, but my wife is a teacher at Euler. She's been there for 14 years. Her very first kindergarten class at Euler, Jamari was in that class. Fast forward, though, to 2018, I was working part-time at Euler as a tutor through Hamilton County, and I coached the baseball team, and Jamari was on the team. And that's really when I really kind of got to work with Jamari a lot and got to know him a lot.
So in 2019, Mr. Talbert started helping me and a few other students with college readiness. And with that, and around that time, college wasn't even crossing my mind.
And you went through some trouble, your junior year. He hurt his knee, and just things weren't always great. So I could kind of see it on his face, hey, what's going on? And tried to make that connection, and so we kind of built a relationship then.
So Brian, as a mentor, really, he taught me things that didn't always pertain to school. It wasn't necessarily education this, academics this. There was also there were other life lessons that I learned. The things that I did learn when he became an advisor were life changing. The way that I went about anything pertaining to my goals, being more goal oriented, having a schedule, really taking care of the things I needed to get done, because I didn't have really necessarily a role model to really show me the way.
But then it got to be when he was hurt his knee and wasn't in the best spot mentally, or maybe he wasn't as mobile, so I would help him out to make sure he had some snacks in his room so he didn't have to walk and stuff like that. Yeah. So little things like that where when we had to roll up our sleeves and do some work, I'd be hey, come on, we need to really focus. And to his credit, even though I had to drag it out of him sometimes, he would come through with an essay for me, or he'd do a scholarship application for me.
This year, I'll say it was around the winter time, when like college stuff really started to like heat up and it lit a fire under me. Like, okay, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Firstly, I think figuring out FAFSA would have been a nightmare had I not had someone who, like, I had a personal connection with, like, helping me file it out. There were so many bumps that we had, like with my UC application to getting tax forms from my mom. Having Brian here with me, he really understood how to get a troubled student through that portion of, like, the scary part of applying to college. I was, like, for a while, I was dreading, like, those parts of school, because around the time, I think it was around where we take, like, our winter exams around that time. So there was just, like, a lot going on. I think we were still only coming to school, like, twice a day, 2 days a week. And so, like, I would check out, like, by Tuesday, and, like, I'll be, like, not ready. Like, I wouldn't want to work on college stuff. And Mr. Talbot would really be like, hey, you need to get this done. But he didn't do it in a way that made me feel overwhelmed. He did it in a way that, like, I could really tell that he cared for me and wanted me to get to where I could go. Like, potential wise, he saw what I could do, and he helped me capitalize off of it.
He got into the UC engineering program and had a summer bridge program. And he was concerned about, like, the distractions and stuff at home. There's just a lot going on. So anyway, the bridge program was it was like being in school all summer. You know, he had 5 classes a day or something like that, or 5 a week, I guess it was. So every day he was in class all day. And he was like, well, I don't know what to do in July. My wife and I were taking this vacation for like 9 or 10 days. And I said, well, you know, like, I think I had mentioned it to my wife, and then she saw him and said, hey, just house sit for us while we're gone and feed our cats, and you know, and we'll stock the house with food and snacks. And then I think I came up with a deal for him. I think we paid him $25 a day to, like, stay there and do that. And he did, and we came back and our house was packed and everything. And he said, well, I'm really like, now I don't know what to do. And we said, well, just stay here, you know.
I was concerned because, like, I hadn't really been away from my neighborhood that I grew up in. Like, I had times, like, away from my house, but I was never more than a street or two over. And that disconnect was one partial issue. And then I didn't really know how it was going to be, like, because I had just turned 18, like, right before I had started house sitting for him. So, like, it was just a lot of stuff all happening all at once. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to deal with it away from the place I had called. It really prepared me for, like, I had moved in to a dorm on campus. So, like, it was going to, like, if I didn't have that summer that I just had this year, that would have been my first time moving away. And I would have been, like, disconnected, but, like, by myself without any guidance or anything like that. I wouldn't have had as much knowledge that I have on, like, living on my own, or, you know, like, being an adult if I hadn't stayed with you or something. And Brian's, like, family to me. So it was, like, 2 and 2, like, those two things being together really helped me, like, jumpstart getting what I need to get done. And now I'm a graduate, and I'm going to be a college graduate thanks to GRAD Cincinnati.
GRAD, you know, being a part of Euler has really changed Lower Price Hill. College is the goal, right? And getting them to college. But I'm there to help anybody who comes in and they're having a tough time with something. So maybe it's a 2015 graduate who wants to do FAFSA because he wants to go to barber school. I've done that. 2017 graduate who said, hey, it's my last semester at Cincinnati State on Facebook. My wife saw it. She was $1,000 short. I was connecting her to resources to try to get that money so she didn't have to take another loan. I'm working with a 2020 grad right now to do FAFSA and try to get him into a welding program, and he's also kind of navigating some legal stuff that we're trying to work through it so he can get there. So, you know, that's another thing. Just like with former students, they feel comfortable to come back to Euler, and the person that Euler is saying they need to talk to is grad, or me, you know, and by extension grad. We're making a real difference in Lower Price Hill and to these students.
We're very proud of our grad scholars, Jamari and Robert, but we have many, many more grad scholars, and your generous donations have made a difference for those students. Your generous donation has helped us to light the way for those students to pursue their dreams and become successful citizens. With your continued support, we can do the work that we need to do to make a difference, to help students realize their dreams of becoming a college graduate.
Hello, my name is Seneca Herring, and I've been a part of GRAD Cincinnati for 14 years, supporting Cincinnati public schools. I enjoy working with GRAD because it provides me with a platform to support youth in their pursuit of a successful future in college, military, or the world of work. I want students to know they have options and it's up to them on how far they go in life. My work with GRAD Cincinnati means I get to help students create a plan of action towards being a high school graduate, community leader, and world influencer. I love the work we do at GRAD because we're helping shape the future. GRAD is one of those organizations that goes above and beyond the call of duty, meeting students where they are, one student at a time. And not only just the students, but to support the families as well. GRAD cares, and we will do whatever it takes to help our students succeed and achieve all of their goals. GRAD Cincinnati truly is an outstanding organization, and I am proud to have been supporting them for all of these years and look forward to the future.
Hello, my name is Monica Keenan. I'm a resource coordinator for GRAD Cincinnati. I enjoy working for GRAD Cincinnati because it gives me an opportunity to work with a great group of people. It's like everybody's on the GRAD bus and we're going in the same direction. It's a great team. Everyone has the same goals. Everyone works seamlessly together. I think Pastor Adams has done a great job. We support one another. It's a positive environment. And everyone wants to do well. Everyone wants to work hard. Everyone wants to serve kids, or whether it's K through 8 or 9 to 12. Everyone is in their lane. They're in their own wheelbarrow and they're doing well in it. And we don't mind serving one another to get stuff done. So that's one of the reasons I love working for GRAD Cincinnati. And I enjoy it, like working with the office too, who are really responsive to our needs and things we do, and the board. The board is awesome. My work at GRAD Cincinnati offers me an opportunity to serve students of this particular demographic. They're Title I students, Title I schools, whether it's elementary or high school. I am particularly now in a virtual framework of education, where the students are learning remotely or come in and learn through their devices, but it's still the same CPS group of students, the same demographics. I love to help students and families increase their quality of life. I see this work as we're giving students an opportunity to get ahead of the game in a society and an economic system that would normally have them struggle or remain where they are in the system as marginalized. So this grad opportunity helps us bring kids out of marginalization and bring them into the mainstream and change their futures.
This evening is very special. 20 years of celebrating GRAD Cincinnati. But there's some very special people that have made GRAD Cincinnati what it is today. People who have given of their time, their energy, their resources, and financially supported GRAD Cincinnati. And I would like to present to those people tonight, and they don't even know that they're going to be presented this award, but I want to present to them the award of lighting the way for GRAD Cincinnati. And we'll start with Randy Dunham. Randy Dunham has served on the GRAD board for 7 years. Randy really has embraced GRAD. Not only does he serve on the board, of GRAD Cincinnati, but he also serves as the chairman of the LSDMC committee at Western Hills University High School. And Randy spends many hours at Western Hills University High School working with the students on community services, working with the students on packing Thanksgiving baskets, Christmas baskets, anything that he can do to make a difference in the lives of those students, he's willing to do. Randy presently serves as the treasurer of GRAD Cincinnati. It is my pleasure tonight to present to Randy Dunham the award of Lighting the Way for Cincinnati. Randy, thank you for your service to GRAD Cincinnati.
My work is trying to make a difference, as I said before, for all the students served by GRAD, which has a magnificent track record of success. I personally have interacted with students and have had a great reward when they came to me and expressed their thanks for my helping them on their journey for a successful life. Yes, it's been a great thing to hear back from them, and I really enjoyed working with the students at West High, and I interact with them on a regular basis. But GRAD's goal is more important than my role. And we would hope that those that are listening to this video will help us by making a contribution to our organization. Thank you.
It is my honor tonight to honor David Hogay. David Hogay is one of the longest standing members on the GRAD Cincinnati board. David has a very quiet spirit, but David leads in a manner that has made a great difference for GRAD. David has served as president of GRAD, and presently he serves as the financial chairperson of GRAD. But not only that, David has a very strategic mind, so if I have any questions or any needs, I know I can call David Hogay, and he will help to do whatever is needed for GRAD Cincinnati. So tonight, it is my pleasure to present to David Hogay the award of Lighting the Way for GRAD Cincinnati.
Well, I got involved because I've always been interested in helping kids and in education. And I enjoy working with GRAD because it gives students a better chance for success in life, helping them with the tools to do well in school and to get into college. I remember in my first year with GRAD, many of us went on a walk for success, visiting the students and their parents in their homes and seeing how invested the parents were in their kids' education. My work with GRAD is meaningful to me because I gain a real appreciation for the professionals like Pat Stewart-Adams and Angela Campbell-Harris, just to name two, who are really committed to the students. It's also really rewarding to be able to work with some of the GRAD graduates who have joined the staff or the board after graduation from college.
It is my pleasure this evening to present the award of Lighting the Way to John Fickle. I met John Fickle 11 years ago at another nonprofit event. But after talking with John just for about a few minutes, I knew that John would be someone that I wanted to have on the board of GRAD Cincinnati. And John accepted. John has served as president of the board of GRAD Cincinnati, and presently he serves as the financial chairperson for GRAD Cincinnati. John has brought grants to GRAD, as well as leading us through 2 paycheck protection grants that made a difference for GRAD when we were going through the COVID-19 pandemic. GRAD loves John Fickle, and John Fickle loves GRAD. John has the biggest smile when he comes to board meetings. He always makes me laugh. So it's my pleasure tonight to present this award to John Fickle.
My work with GRAD really means to me, it's a sense of an ability to help others to be successful. And I just can't think of anything that I would rather do than look to make an impact with children, knowing that through education, that's what creates opportunities for them, for their future, for their families, and to know that I've got some small part in helping them to navigate those waters to get to that point in life to where they're going to be able to be successful. It's just a great feeling, and I just can't think of anything that I'd rather spend my time on than helping our children to make an impact, not only now, but in the future, as we think about themselves, their families, and communities. So what I really enjoy is working with the children and the programs that we have within GRAD Cincinnati, being able to tutor our young kids within the elementary schools, all the way up through our programs for creating college access for high school students so that they have the opportunity to attend and go to college. And through those opportunities that our young and children have in going to college, it opens doors for them, opens doors that they can then walk through and create, a different future, a different outcome, and the ability to take on positions within the community. They're going to be vital for the community's success, and also to create success for them and their families in the future. So I just enjoy the fact that we can make such a big difference in making sure that we can really work with children all the way from their start of their school experience up through their attending and graduating from college.
There's a very special person that has changed the lives of so many students in GRAD Cincinnati, and that is Peter Levin and the Peter Levin Family Foundation. Peter has supported GRAD financially for 20 years. The money that he supports GRAD with gives our students a scholarship to continue their education. Peter is such a giving person and never asking for anything in return. He just wants to make sure that students who do not have the opportunity to continue their education. And he has made that possible through his generous donations, his time, his energy. But not only that, Peter is a mentor to me. Whenever I'm down and I need someone to talk to or need to be pepped up, I can call Peter Levin, and he will also light the way for me. I want to thank Peter Levin for all the years that he gave to GRAD. He's now retired from our board, but he's still in the GRAD family. Thank you, Peter Levin, for your support. Tonight, I want to present to a very special friend of mine and to a friend of GRAD, Darlene Kamine, the award of Lighting the Way. Darlene has the most strategic mind of anyone that I've ever met. And not only does she have that strategic mind, but she rolls up her sleeves and she gets down with anything that can make a difference for the students that we serve through GRAD Cincinnati. She has a very special heart for Orler School. You heard the young man tonight talk about Orler School. Well, that's Darlene Kamine. Darlene Kamine works hard. Darlene Kamine serves hard. And Darlene Kamine never asks for anything in return. So tonight, it is my pleasure to present to my friend, my former GRAD board member, the Lighting the Way for GRAD Cincinnati Award.
I have been involved with GRAD almost from the beginning. I was on the original board of GRAD. I wasn't the first, but I was pretty close behind the first pioneers of this amazing organization. Even actually before it officially became GRAD, when Pat Stewart Adams was the principal of Heverly School, and we were just beginning the development of schools as community learning centers, putting partners together with schools to create all of the conditions and supports that were necessary to ensure that the children could learn. That was, in fact, what Pat was doing at Heverly. what we did there in a pilot way with no money and no formal structure. That really was the seedling of what actually became GRAD. It was such a natural progression, although I know GRAD was a national idea and a national organization, but what Pat was doing predated all of that. And I knew from what I had seen in the work that she had done and getting to know her, that if she set her mind to do it, if she was going to take this idea of an organization and make it happen, no one could do that more effectively than Pat. And that has been the case with Pat's leadership and with the strength of the board throughout all of these years, and her small but mighty staff. Whatever they set out to do, just miraculously, they made it happen. And that's what I love about being involved with them, is that they do what they say they're going to do and so much more.
This evening, you've had the pleasure from hearing from our board of directors, our staff, and most importantly, two of our grad scholars, Robert and Jamari. They are two students that are fabulous young men who had a dream, and GRAD Cincinnati made that dream a reality for them. GRAD began with a promise, knocking on the doors of our students, talking with their families, saying, if your child wants to go to college, we're here to make that happen and support them. We will walk every step of the way with them, and we will provide a scholarship to make that dream a reality. Our goal was 80% of our students would graduate from high school, and 50% of those students would go on to college. 20 years later, we have surpassed that goal. 100% of our grad scholars took the pledge, and they have graduated from high school, and they are now in college, or either they have graduated. $1.4 million in scholarships from GRAD has supported their dreams, and millions of grants and other scholarships that GRAD has secured for our students have taken them out of poverty into careers, thanks to your generous donations. Tonight, I want to thank the GRAD Cincinnati board. I want to thank our chairperson, Adita Dolan Mayo, and her team, Michelle Roddy and Randy Dunham and Sarah Runge, for pulling this virtual event together. But most of all, I want to thank you, the community that has supported GRAD over the last 20 years. Please consider to continue to light the way for our students by donating to GRAD. Please go to www.gradcincinnati.org and push that button and donate so we can continue to support our students in their dreams, in their future. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And like you said, none of this would be possible without your dedicated staff, passionate volunteers, sponsors, and viewers like all of you joining us this evening. We appreciate you taking the time to celebrate with us, and we hate that it has to come to an end. However, if you have not gotten your GRAD Cincinnati anniversary candle, they smell amazing, participated on the online auction, or donated, it's not too late. For more information, to participate, and to give, please go to the GRAD website at www.gradcincinnati.org. Remember, all proceeds from this evening's event, auction, and candle sales will go to support student scholarships, help them achieve their dreams, and continue to light the way. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to see you next year at our annual event. Take care and have a great evening.